Can everybody just calm down?
No.
It's not even been a day.
No. Welcome back to the James and Dame Show. I'm Josiah.
And I'm Will.
And today we're going to be talking about free agency stuff and literally a lot of things that are happening all at once.
Yeah, a lot of things are happening. They're happening very fast. It's going very quickly, and I'm having it's a really hard time. Anyways,
I think he's having a stroke, guys.
Listen, I've been taking notes for so long.
It was like 3 hours straight or whatever it was.
I did sit down for 3 hours before this, and just taking notes on every single signing, and I'm still not up to date because recording.
Yeah, I was in class and I got a text from him, and he said, "Bro, there's so much stuff going on. I'm still writing down notes." I'm like, dude, there's no reason
going on.
There's no reason for so much to be happening all at once. But
there's so much going on, and we're here to talk about it.
If we can talk about everything.
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna have time to talk about everything, but yeah, free agency, it's kicking off, and I mean, well, technically, as of recording this, which this is the only 4:44 of March 10th.
Central Standard Time.
And this is the only video where I will explicitly say when we were recording this, because news will come out after this recording.
And people will be like, "Why didn't you talk about this?" I'm like,
because it's a recording.
It's not live.
Next year, it might be.
We'll see. That's a lot to happen in one day, but
that's why you cover it live. It makes it so much easier. But you know what? I think we could cover some of these. There's been some big re-signings that I think we can cover before we talk about the actual signings.
Mm-hmm.
Just for like a few Bills extending Khalil Shakir.
Oh yeah,
for 4 years with up to $60.2 million. I think that's a pretty good signing. He's been really good for him. The only thing the Cowboys have done so far has really been extending Osa Odigizua. I've completely butchered that.
I'm not trying.
Not even going to try.
I'm not trying.
On a 4-year extension worth $80 million. Yeah, that's a lot of money. And he's been good, but that's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
Eagles very deservedly extending Saquon. 2 years, $41.2. He, I believe, is now the highest paid running back.
Yes,
averaging over $20 million a year.
Yeah.
Finally trying to fix that running back market.
Yay.
In the last video, we talked about this a little bit. There was Max Crosby getting an extension for 3 years, $106.5 million. And he was set to he had become the highest non-paid quarterback
until
like a couple days later. Myles Garrett went, "Actually, I don't want to be traded. Give me the money." So now he has gotten an extension. I believe it's through 2030, being paid around $40 million a year, and $123.5 million guaranteed.
Yeah,
a lot of money to keep around one guy.
Well, there's your money, Cleveland.
So yeah, that one bothers me for so many reasons. One, doesn't help the Browns that much. Like, yes, he's amazing, but you're kind of looking at a rebuild right now. You're paying a lot of money after you are started to fix what you had with Deshaun Watson and his money, and you go, "Look at this money, Miles, take it." So
have it.
And then on top of that, we don't get to see him go play for an actual contender, because I don't think they will be contenders.
No.
So
we will return to this in the future.
Yeah.
That won't happen. I'm sorry. Cleveland, no.
Let's see. Eagles also re-signed Zach Bond to a 3-year deal.
Zach Bond got re-signed.
Which happy for him.
Panthers were able to keep J.C. Horn.
Yeah, for
$100 million for 4 years.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm, that was a big contract.
Not as big as Josh Allen's.
No.
6 years, $330 million, which when you break it down is actually It's among the highest paid as like Trevor Lawrence. I forget who else is it. Joe Burrow.
Was it in total? Not breaking it up, it is the second highest paid contract in NFL history, just behind Mahomes,
who was 500, but it was about 50 million per year for 10 years.
10 years.
So, but if you break it down by year, it's 55 million, which is what, again, some of the top quarterbacks have been paid. Trevor's in there, so it's kind of hard to but other notable ones, Bills extend Greg Rousseau. Bills have been extending guys.
Yes,
which
they've been doing a lot.
They've been,
especially after this year,
been good. One that I personally want to throw in here is the Ravens re-signing Ronnie Stanley, 3 years, $60 million. I wasn't too excited because it was like, 3 years, $60 million. It's a decent chunk of change for someone who hasn't played all the time. Mm-hmm. But I'll get into why that's a big deal later.
There's a couple more I want to mention. Let's see here. I was trying to find what it was. Oh, Aaron Banks, 4 years, $77 million.
Yeah, that's not even a re-signing. He signs with the Packers.
Yeah, that's a big signing right there.
That actually was probably going to be my main references. He's being paid a lot. He's not a bad guard, but he's not like an amazing guard either. And he's being paid, I believe, it's like 60-something million in the first 3 years,
something like that.
So compared to Ronnie Stanley, who is a tackle, it's a lot of money. But I think they believe they can get the guy they want.
If you didn't already, Aaron Jones for 2 years, $20 million.
This is true.
Vikings. Let's see here.
I think one of the ones that is really big, though, and probably going to be slightly under-talked, Tampa Bay re-signing Chris Godwin. 3-year deal, and 2 years fully guaranteed. But the thing that makes this big is he took a pay cut. I don't remember the exact numbers,
but he
took a pay cut.
He took a chunk of
for that for that team. So that put him in a good situation. And I mean, as far as like re-signings, that's about all I think those are some of the big ones. But that Chris Godwin one kind of also helped him make some way for making a move for Hassan Reddick. Mm-hmm. He's kind of been me.
There hasn't been any recently big signings.
Since like in the recent hours of us recording, there have been signings that have been pretty interesting. Like we've mentioned in the last video, Devontae Adams, after becoming a free agent, has signed a 2-year deal, I should clarify as a preface, nothing is officially official until March 12th at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Eastern time, or is it 4 p.m. 4 p.m. somewhere. But
Eastern time.
As a preface, nothing's actually official.
It's Eastern time, but yeah.
2-year deal, $46 million.
Yeah.
I think that's about what you expect for him, and I think pairing him with Puka, pretty good. I think that's like a B, if not A tier signing for what he can be. You pair him with Matthew Stafford as well.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty exciting.
I do want to say something that just popped up here. As of 4:47.
Oh.
We're a few minutes behind on this one. This was a Josh Dobbs to the Patriots to add to that QB room. On a 2-year deal. It says that the agent said that the client has agreed to the terms on a 2-year deal.
Usually it's the agent who does the talking.
Yeah, usually nothing has been like finalized quite yet. But this also kind of opens the door. Just something else just popped up that this kind of opens the door for Joe Milton to possibly get traded as well. So speaking of cornerbacks for the Colts, they add safety Cam Bynum. They've also agreed to a deal with Tre'Davious Ward.
Yeah.
3-year deal, $660 million.
I believe that is also around, if I can find it, 4 years, $60 million for Cameron Bynum. So, both guys pretty good at their positions. The Charvarius Ward, he's had his ups and downs, but he's been pretty good
solid,
the past 2 years.
There
Bynum
you go.
coming off of the Vikings, he had a pretty good year with the Vikings, so that it definitely helps. They had a lot of secondary issues and a lot of defensive issues in general, but that is, I did see the Charvarius Ward one,
I didn't get to see
but
that.
paired with the Cameron Bynum signing, I think the Colts they don't usually make super flashy
Moves quite
in
yet.
free agency, but these are some decent ones, especially when you pair them with Kenny Moore. I think that
Kenny
really
Moore.
helps the secondary.
Oh, yeah. Good
If
stuff
we want
to see.
if we want to talk splashy moves, well, maybe not splashy, but definitely
your
newsworthy. What's more newsworthy than the most important position in football, quarterback? You want to talk about either of these guys, Sam Darnold or Justin Fields?
So I don't have the numbers pulled up quite yet.
I got numbers.
Okay. So Justin Fields, what was his? It was 2 years, right?
2 year, $40 million,
$40 million.
$30 million guaranteed.
That one,
Jets.
I understand for like a stepping stone. Like Fields isn't the answer unless he ends up being really good. But they sign him for 2 years at the very least so they can do something with that. You got some youth at the quarterback again. That's what you kind of needed.
I think what this is. It caught me by surprise because I didn't ever expect. I never would have guessed him to the Jets. That never comprehended.
That surprised me.
But then again, I didn't expect him to go to the Steelers either. So him moving, not surprising. Where he's moved is surprising, and this is the second year in a row. But I don't hate it because the Jets are in a rebuild.
Yeah, they've been in rebuild for like 10 years. So
you're paying what, $20 million for a starting quarterback.
yeah,
You have O-line struggles, so you give a guy who can run,
mobile, so he can escape the pocket.
and this gives you room to, not have to draft in the first round a quarterback. It makes you not quarterback needy. You honestly don't even need to draft a quarterback this year. This pushes that back a little bit.
Yeah, especially with how weak this draft class is at quarterback.
It's a weird class where it's not like top of the board heavy, but I think some of these guys, some of them can be good. That's me. But regardless, I think this is good for the Jets because Aaron Rodgers completely tore down that organization.
Yep.
And you're in a really rough spot. You get a guy who I still think Justin Fields has good upside.
He does.
And so get him he's not like cheap, but again, $20 million a year.
Yeah.
You're paying 30 of the 40 guaranteed, which is it's not too bad because it's a 2-year deal. It's not long term, but you give him a chance to go out and prove himself. And if not, you can fix the team around him and then move him out.
Yeah.
I do like the signing. I think it's really good for the Jets. I think it's honestly one of the best signings they've had in a few years.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like this one. I'm curious what you think about the Sam Darnold one.
He was gonna move.
Mm-hmm.
I did think that the Vikings weren't gonna keep him. I know it's been like a month since they've, changed opinions and everything. So if this comes out of the blue and I've said something differently before, just don't harp on me. It's been a month. Sam Darnold, with how things have been going on like the last month or so, it was kind of expected for him to be moved on from, especially with how the Vikings are kind of looking towards right now. To the Seahawks of all teams, I understand, especially with like that bridge quarterback understanding. Obviously, he's not going to be long-term unless he ends up being really good like he did at Minnesota. Then again, how much was that on the Minnesota offense being really good? We don't know. Obviously, things are going to be changing. I think Darnold is a pretty solid starter for at least a couple of years, but we'll see what he kind of I guess, gives the Seahawks, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at a contract, 3 years, 110.5 million, 55 million guaranteed. It's definitely more than what Justin Fields is getting. But the other thing to look at is it is less than what Geno was asking for.
Yes,
So-
that was a big thing there. 'Cause
And-
Geno was asking for a lot.
He was asking for about 40 million a year, and what you're looking at here is what, like 35?
35, yeah, I think.
It's less than, I think it's 35 to like 36, I think is how it averages
But
out.
significantly lower than what Geno's.
Yeah, you're saving some money, and when you compare Geno to Sam Darnold's younger, but again, you're not necessarily looking at him as a long-term solution. Maybe
No.
he is, who knows? But he gives you maybe the same upside. There's been talks of him. The play is different, and there's concerns with how he handles pressure, and going to a team that has struggled with an O-line is not great. And now he also has only like one receiver to throw to, so that'll make it fun. But
yeah,
I think as far as a cap move, and if you're utilizing him as a bridge quarterback for the next few years, again, kind of like the Jets, it's someone to throw in there until you get a better class and a better team to fit a quarterback.
there's
So-
definitely a lot of possibilities for what they could do. But then again, we didn't really expect until recently that the Seahawks were going to rebuild. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's two teams. These quarterback signings are two teams picking up quarterbacks to hold them over while they rebuild.
Yeah. That's
So
the mission.
that's that's been a thing. Some other big signings. I don't have the details on this one, but the Lions they're finalizing a deal for cornerback DJ Reed,
Oh,
formerly
yeah.
from the Jets. He has been one of the top corners talked about from this free agency class. So that's big for the Lions. There's talks about how they signed him but let Carlton Davis go. He went actually to the Patriots.
Yeah, he did
3
go to the
years,
Patriots.
$60 million. I think DJ Reed is an upgrade because Carlton Davis was kind of disappointing in Detroit. He wasn't
It wasn't as flashy as what he was promised to be.
Yeah, I mean, like, because he was pretty good in Tampa Bay, but what he was in Detroit was not up to snuff.
It didn't fit the style that they were kind of running there. And they were also injured as well, so it kind of
Yeah, that
gave them a
definitely
little
didn't
bit
help.
more pressure.
But I think DJ Reed is an upgrade, so I think this is a pretty good signing. Let's see other big ones. Milton Williams
Oh, yes, yes.
was a very interesting one, and this one even tripped you up.
Yeah,
Because
I was like,
it
Carolina?
it came out that he was going to sign with the Panthers. It was like basically guaranteed. And then it came out a little bit later that the Patriots were like, actually, no, we're going to offer him more money. And they sign him. It looks like it's going to be about $26 million per year. But Milton Williams, $26 million per year. That's
a lot of money.
price. But,
Is he worth it, though?
well, $26 million. This is the thing about free agency. A lot of these players are not going to be worth their contract. But
Yeah.
that's because, especially in the Patriots situation, you're paying people a lot because all you
need
have
people.
is money. They have the most money, $121 million in cap. All you have is money, but not like you don't have much else. So the only way for you to get these people to come here is pay more than anyone else, which is usually too much. But
Yeah.
it's
They'll
a
restructure it.
it's a bidding system, so logically it's gonna be a lot. But talking about interior D linemen who are being paid a lot,
A boatload of money.
at least as far as I know, a lot. The Commanders are signing defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw. Mm-hmm. He recently played for the 49ers and the Jets.
Yes.
If I am correct in my notes, he's being paid $45 million a year, or not a year, $45 million deal over 3 years, $30 million guaranteed. Yeah, it's a pretty hefty deal. I have to look at how that breaks down, but
Yeah.
I think a lot of the reason why he goes there is because the GM that he played for in San Francisco was Adam Peters, who is currently the Commanders GM. So I think he gets a little bit of a
little bit of
it's a little bit of, I don't even know what the word is right now. Words are not working, but
English, not English.
Guy. He knows a guy.
He knows a guy who knows a guy.
He knows. Well, actually, he just knows the guy, but
so he knows the guy.
Yeah, I think that one is talked about. I think he's a pretty solid guy, but I think the price is a little high. But that's just what you get when you like someone. You give them a little extra money. You're just like, hey, I like you. Take this.
Here, give it.
Maybe not necessarily in this one.
Here we go.
As he's got some breaking news.
We got some news. As of 5:03 Central Standard Time, Texans add another wide receiver. The Texans have been busy. What was it? They got Justin Watson from the Chiefs, former Chiefs receiver. He is the third receiver to be added over the last 4 days. I don't know what the deal is, but that's just what is.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a huge signing.
It's not a huge signing, but it's definitely something that,
Yeah, he didn't play too. I mean, the Chiefs' locker wide receiver room was like almost decimated last year, and he still didn't even do too much. So I think that just says that that's not something too much to look at. Meanwhile, we did mention this in the trade video about the Bears and their O-line build. They've done this on two fronts because they've done it on trades, but they've also done it in free agency.
Mm-hmm.
They went out and are building up those trenches. They signed Drew Dahlman, the former Falcons center, 3-year, $42 million. Not too bad.
Not bad.
And I think he's actually a pretty solid center, so that's another good move. They've completely rebuilt that interior O-line. But they also looked at the defensive side, and one of these was way more surprising than the other. They signed the edge from the Colts. Is it a Dayingbo? I think is how it's pronounced. Maybe. I apologize. I'm not super familiar with him, but there's been a lot of talk about him as an up-and-coming edge. And the Bears signed him for 3 years, $48 million, $32 million guaranteed. So he was in competition being signed by the Packers, so I know that. But the one that I thought was really big, because he was cut earlier today, was Grady Jarrett. Long-time interior D lineman for the Falcons.
I did not see that one.
Got cut today, and then signed with the Bears for 3 years, $43.5 million. And he's been pretty good. Maybe not as much the past few years, but he's over his tenure has been a very good interior guy. And so Bears, you add an edge opposite of Sweat, you add an interior guy, you add O-lineman. These are all things they should have done last year.
Literally last year.
And they're doing it now, which is why I love the offseason they're having. But yeah, I thought that was a pretty good addition.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What other...
Oh, did we figure out Ward's contract?
The contract for Ward...
$60 million, including 35 guaranteed.
Over how many years again?
3 year.
Yeah, I mean...
And $20 million signing bonus.
$20 million signing bonus. That's not too bad. Let's see if this has this updated. Yeah, $60 million, 3 years, 35. Adds $35 million guaranteed. That's about half, $30 million. Yeah, I think I think that's a pretty good signing for the Colts. Another, well, especially now that we're on corner, someone that I would like to mention, and we did talk about it a little bit before, the Packers signing Nate Hobbs.
I was just about to talk about that.
Former Raider. He was not the greatest at all times, but he definitely was a bright spot on the defense for the Raiders this last year at times where there was not a lot.
Yeah.
But a 4-year, $48 million, and where this deal I think is great for the Packers, $48 million deal over 4 years. They only have $16 million guaranteed, so they could cut him right now and not have to pay $32 million of that contract. So they're only paying for, or only a quarter of that deal. Is guaranteed. So that is, if he turns out to be nothing,
then
as a net loss, that's not that bad. So I think that's a pretty solid deal. Usually these guarantees are like 50%, 75%. That's a pretty good spot to be at.
So pressure is on to be good.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely for sure. But I think as a team that definitely needed corner, especially with the rumors around Jair, I think it's a pretty good move. Which, I mean, I guess speaking kind of the Raiders, they signed Jeremy Chin for 2 years, $16 million deal.
Yeah, Chin good.
He's been on the move a little bit. He was pretty solid in Carolina. He didn't do too much with Washington.
No. There wasn't. Yeah, no, you're right. No, I was just trying to think of something.
Okay. Here's some news that I do think is pretty interesting. If it does come to fruition, it's been talked about a lot, and it's basically been stated that it is real, but there's no like actual paperwork, and obviously won't be paperwork for another
day.
A day and a half or so for us. Is Darius Slay signing with the Steelers?
Yeah, that one's one where I can understand the move, but you keep signing older corners to your roster. Steelers, have you not learned from this?
It seems like they're gearing up for a run, which when they don't have a quarterback right now.
No, especially with both of them are going.
I feel like they're looking at two guys right now. If you look at who's available as quarterbacks, maybe three guys. And what was on top of that, there's also rumor to the Titans being willing to trade their first overall pick. There has been they're it's like right now 50-50 at whether they keep it or trade it.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them. I mean, look at the position they're in. They need a lot. And
they're fine without taking QB right away.
And there are teams that need QB. Like, look at the Giants literally could move up 2 spots just to certify that they get the quarterback that they want. You look at, like, the Browns, who were kind of, like, 50-50 on quarterback or defensive player.
Yeah.
And they re-signed Myles Garrett, which takes out potentially the need for, like, someone like Abdul Carter, who's the top edge of the class. And then it suddenly becomes much more quarterback needy. If the Titans go for a quarterback, Browns go for a quarterback, Giants,
they're done.
They're kind of screwed unless they go for someone like one of the 3 big guys left, which you got Kirk Cousins, you got Russell Wilson, and then we're expecting Aaron Rodgers to be available.
There's been rumors that Aaron Rodgers might go to the Giants.
Well, the thing that I was hinting at is that if the Steelers are looking for a run, you're looking at the 3 starters potentially available. They're all veterans. You got Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers.
Nah.
None of them are great.
No.
But the Steelers need somebody. They're not in a great position to draft a starting quarterback. So they're probably going to sign someone. And then you have teams like the Vikings who might get someone while JJ learns a little bit more. But yeah, I think Steelers are gearing up for a run, so I think they're looking definitely at signing someone like Aaron Rodgers. But you pair him on that defense, and again, he's old.
He is pretty old.
But he's still a pretty good corner, and you put him on a team that already had a really scary defense.
Yeah, but that defense didn't really do much this year, I'd say, besides T.J. Watt. But even then, T.J. Watt didn't
I think
have a great
I think
year.
that defense and special teams won them more games than their offense ever did.
I do agree with that. It's just they weren't as flashy as years past. They did enough to win them those games, but I don't know if they were as flashy.
Yeah, I wouldn't say flashy. I would say more stout. But it's still one of the top defenses. And you add Darius Slay. It's just any other team. It's like, you're getting a really old guy who plays really well. But for them, it's just like, this is just another really good corner for them.
Yeah. This is a boomer bust year, I guess.
Let's see. Other signings of note on here.
Nothing as updated quite yet, so.
I don't know if you've mentioned this one yet, but Josh Palmer to the Bills.
I don't know if I mentioned that during the last video or not, but yeah, Josh Palmer, good signing for the Bills. They've been needing receivers. Not saying that they were bad. It's just more depth with the room would be good.
Especially now, they're you extend Khalil Shakir, you have Keon Coleman, but you move on from, I believe they're moving on from Mac Hollins and Amari Cooper. You kind of need someone to step up, and you take, I believe, who was one of the leading receivers for the Chargers.
Yeah.
I think he was second.
I think he was second
behind McConkey.
Yeah, McConkey was leading, but yeah, definitely Palmer was right behind him.
I think he kind of fits that like Mac Hollins kind of role. He'll different play style, but he'll fit that kind of role. And especially when you do 3 years, $36 million, not too bad of a deal.
No.
Another one, I think this one's actually really underrated, and I think maybe it's because of injury, because I'm pretty sure he was hurt this last year and maybe even the year before. But very good safety, Hufanga from the 49ers signs with Denver, who already had a really good secondary.
They have been loading.
And so now they go and they get him for 3 years, $45 million.
Mm-hmm.
And so suddenly, like, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but Hufanga was all-pro a few years ago.
Yeah, he's
a very good safety, and I think Denver got a really good player for not too much money.
No. Denver's been looking to start pushing for an actual push for that AFC West crown. They've also been needing players in general. I mean, Knicks has done well. They've got Sean Payton. They've had that defense.
You have Pat Surtain on there.
Surtain alone is really good.
Defensive player of the year. Now you add another safety over top, especially when you, last year moved on from Simmons.
Yeah, it was Simmons. Simmons.
So you move on from Simmons, take a year. Now you get Hufanga, and you boost that secondary. You give another year to Bo Nix.
Mm-hmm.
And if you put some real edges on that defense, you have a really scary defense, and you bolster up that offense, that team could absolutely compete for at least the division. But I think they're another team looking to return to the playoffs with some more moves and good picks.
Yeah.
But let's see. Other players. I'm very curious about what the Jaguars are doing. They made
interesting.
They made an interesting. They signed Jordan Lewis, which isn't bad. You didn't sign him for too much. 3 years, $30 million. It's not a bad signing at all.
No,
but it's more the other ones. They signed Patrick McCarry, who was, I believe, the most penalized tackle.
Yeah, he was
in the league. So that one was interesting.
I don't know why, but I guess.
Let's see. Speaking of Jags, the 49ers sign former Jags tight end Luke Farrell to a 3-year deal, just under $21 million. Let's see. Other deals. Here's one, and this is another reason why I wanted to bring up the Ronnie Stanley extension.
Okay.
Because the Titans signed Dan Moore, 4 years, $82 million.
Oh.
Which is, I mean, I guess, because it was a 3-year 60, right, for Stanley. So, yeah, it's right about on par when you compare it to that. And you got Aaron Banks. So it's in that range, if not a little bit cheaper. Chiefs signed Jalen Moore to a 2-year, $30 million contract.
Okay.
He was also from the Steelers. That's what I was trying to remember. So there was that. And I think the last one before we started that I was able to get as far as a big deal was Josh Sweat, who was one of the top edges in this free agency class, signing with the Cardinals for a 4-year, $76.4 million deal. And I mean, that's just shy of $20 million.
Yeah.
But he's a good edge, and I love that he went to the Cardinals because they have needed like an actual edge threat.
Yes, they've definitely needed that threat, especially on that front. It's been, a little delayed, but yeah, they've definitely needed that for a while.
Plus a reunion with Jonathan Gannon.
This is true.
Yes, it is. So that's at least what I've had prior to recording. So there's a few things that obviously we're behind on.
There are a few players that I want to mention that have not been re-signed or are current free agents.
So potential signings.
So one of the big names I've seen right now is Justin Reed.
Yeah, that's a pretty big safety prospect. I mean, again, we've mentioned a few pretty big safety signings, but Justin Reed absolutely is someone worth talking about.
And on top of that, Byron Murphy for the Vikings.
Yeah, there's another one.
Those two particularly are not signed right now. They've just been kind of existing for the moment, but we'll get a.
I mean,
you
can stick with the Vikings corners too. Stephon Gilmore's also available, which makes
me
wonder what the Vikings are going to do.
They're probably waiting for things to happen.
Murphy is going to be Murphy and Reed though. Absolutely are going to be big.
They're
signings.
definitely the bigger ones. I do want to say there was one Greenlaw for sure hasn't been signed yet. He's been kind of iffy on that one right now because nothing's really happened.
One that I would like to bring up because he was recently released is Jonathan Allen from the Commanders.
Yeah,
that was an interesting piece of information in the Kinlaw signing was the fact that they got rid of Allen and then brought in Kinlaw.
Yeah.
When Allen had been like the top guy for them.
Yeah.
So
maybe they just saw something different. I don't know.
Maybe it's an age thing. Maybe it's just they like him more. But now he's on the market, so that's going to be interesting. And there are some teams that are definitely going to look for him.
So there's another. He hasn't done a whole lot recently, but Stephon Diggs is currently a free agent.
He is coming off of an injury.
Injury. Justin Simmons actually has still not been signed yet.
Oh, really? I didn't
he
know
is currently just kind of hanging out in Atlanta right now. Levante David as well.
Oh, he actually did resign.
Actually, he did get signed. Never mind. This list might be a little outdated. J.K. Dobbins.
J.K. Dobbins is available.
Yeah, he's been hanging around.
Some edges, actually, that are available. Joey Bosa and Chase Young.
Those two have been kind of...
Azeez Ojulari is a name. There's not too many like big names, but some guys that could be serviceable. Matthew Judon is available. He's kind of dropped off in value, at least by a league standpoint, since he left New England, because I guess he didn't have a great year.
No.
Let's see other people who
I got one.
Yeah.
Najee Harris.
Oh, I completely forgot that he wasn't even.
Najee Harris has not been signed yet.
Yeah, no, I mean neither has Nick Chubb.
No,
but
Nick Chubb, but
that was I forgot because I keep forgetting Nick Chubb is not technically a Brown right now.
No. Also, Keenan Allen has not been re-signed yet.
And I will say Keenan Allen is not going to be a big. He's highly ranked on the list that I'm looking at, but I don't think after last year he will be viewed as much as such.
Yeah.
I think Amari Cooper could be more valuable. Mac Hollins.
Yeah. DeAndre Hopkins, who's just kind of hanging out with the Chiefs right now. He hasn't been signed, but he's also 32 years old as a wide receiver.
Yeah.
He also didn't do much recently, so that's kind of a kind of a shift towards the maybe not signing him to a very high paying deal. Those are the big ones that I've seen so far that has not been signed.
I will add one, at least one more.
Maybe.
At least one more in
one more.
Evan Ingram, who
Has not been signed yet.
He was interesting because he was just straight up released.
Yeah.
After he was so productive for them, and what was it, like a year or two ago that they gave him a massive
contract. And I was like, good for them.
And then they released him, which I don't know what the Jags are doing. I don't know if they're going full rebuild or
Again.
what. I don't know what they're doing. Very interesting situation, but Evan Ingram's on the market. Rumor has it that he visited the Broncos, and the other one that I've heard rumors for is going back to Jonathan Allen. He visited the Vikings, I believe is what he was rumored to have visited. But that would be a big move. But yeah, obviously, again, these are just like names that are available. Von Miller's available now.
Yeah, Von Miller. Yeah, he's been released.
Tyler Lockett is available, obviously, now. But yeah, these are just some of like the names that are out there. And we're looking like they'll be interesting to look for where they go in the coming weeks. And we hope to cover some of these
more in depth eventually.
Yeah, like as we go on, we hope to cover these. Well,
something just happened.
Yeah, I got some breaking news, maybe not breaking news. In that this is gonna make the last video a little awkward. It does not seem that the Rams will be trading Cooper Kupp, as they are planning to release him. Unless a trade materializes, they're planning to release him. So he apparently has gone from trade block to free agent. So I guess we'll have him to cover as well.
Great.
Yeah. So that's those are some of the guys available. Let's see. I want to look at some of these signings that I missed over the past few hours.
These ones that we're covering are as of 5:25 Central Standard Time on March 10th. So we're going to miss a bit.
Yeah, stuff is going to happen after we finish recording. So
yeah, of course they're going to happen. And then there's going to be like this big blockbuster trade that we're not going to see until like literally after all this. And then we're going to be like, are you kidding me? We could have literally just covered this if we stayed like 5 more minutes.
Yeah, it tends to happen.
All the time.
But yeah, let's see some other moves that have been made amidst our recordings. Let's see. Well, okay, this is something interesting. It's not as much anything super. It's not anyone being signed. More just an interesting stat is that the Cowboys have not signed a free agent over $6 million per year in free agency since Greg Hardy in 2015. The salary cap has increased by almost $136 million since then. And they haven't signed anyone over $6 million per year from free agency. Jerry really likes to keep it in-house.
Yeah, he really does. Didn't think he was that scared, I guess.
Yeah, let's see some other things. Chargers re-signed their center, Bradley Bozeman, to a multi-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
English is hard. One of the top linebackers, formerly Broncos linebacker Cody Barton, is set to sign with the Titans. I don't see... 3-year, $21 million deal, so nothing too big.
No, but decent signing.
Yeah, so that'll be something. And let's see if there's anything new.
I haven't seen anything. There's been a lot of repeats in the sentence of like they're just covering the same thing.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think for this one, to close it out, before we go, like I mentioned, 3 starting caliber quarterbacks on the market, unless you just found something.
No, nothing too crazy. Defensive tackle Dalvin Tomlinson. He's going to be released.
By the Giants?
The Browns have notified him.
Oh, I'm mixing him up with someone else.
Yeah, different guy.
That's still interesting. He's pretty solid.
He can officially sign with a new team at the start of the league on Wednesday. So there's that.
But yeah, I mentioned starting caliber quarterbacks available still in free agency. We saw Fields and Sam Darnold sign.
Yes.
You got Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. Mm-hmm. Where do you think they go? And I can list what we got. Teams looking for a quarterback, probably, maybe. Oh, except Zach Wilson just signed a contract with the Dolphins. 1 year, $6 million. That's not anything. He's a backup at this point.
Yeah, he's a backup at this point. I'm just like,
It's interesting.
nothing major.
Ooh, that's a
Unless something else just happened again.
Tershawn Wharton signing with the Panthers for 3 years and more than $54 million. So it's a sizable contract.
Yeah.
Worth of note, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, those three, you got three quarterbacks. Teams looking maybe for a veteran quarterback or a veteran starter.
Yeah.
Steelers are an option. Titans, Browns, Giants.
I'm going to say
Trying to think of who else could.
Rodgers might go to the Steelers only because that kind of makes sense.
I really don't like it.
I don't like it either, but it makes sense in my mind. And then Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins might go. He seems like a Ryan Tannehill, so he'll go to the Titans. Russell Wilson, I would not be surprised if he got picked up by, like, I don't know, what was it? You said the Raiders?
No, not Raiders because they have Geno.
Who'd you say then?
Titans, Browns,
Steelers,
and Vikings.
Oh, you said Oh, I don't know about a Kirk Cousins reunion with the Vikings. That might be a little sore in their mouth. Or little.
Honestly, on a 1 year deal, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Maybe like, you know what, Kirk, we were mean to you. We can come back.
It'd more be like, hey, Kirk,
Sorry,
you gonna take this smaller deal now? He's like, yeah,
I guess.
I'm sorry for leaving. Yeah, because I'm trying to think of who else could potentially sign like a veteran quarterback who could use a veteran quarterback.
Not anybody I can think of. Well, maybe the Saints, but the Saints are more focused on other positions right now.
Yeah, and I don't think they have the. I mean, as far as cap goes,
Oh, they don't have the cap, but
they're
I can see maybe a push, but that's if they really get bold.
They are what 7, depending on how you look at it, either $7 million or $12.5 million in the hole.
In the hole, yeah, it's not good.
So I don't think they'll be looking to sign anyone there. I will say the Colts potentially, as they continue their quarterback carousel and not being certain on Anthony Richardson.
I wouldn't be surprised if one of them goes there, like Russell Wilson. I would not be surprised if Russell Wilson.
Russ is the one I don't know where he goes. It's like it's been pretty clear before, like going to the Broncos. It was like, yeah, kind of makes sense. Going to the Steelers, I called like half a year before, so
yeah,
obviously that one made sense to me at least. I don't know now. Like maybe the Vikings.
Vikings is a push, I think, in my mind, but we'll see.
I just don't know where he could possibly go, and I'm trying to like look at other teams that potentially could look for someone. But I think Giants right now, they want Shador or Cam Ward. So I don't think they're looking.
They're not looking for anybody in the veteran aspect, but I can definitely see the other teams. So a lot of it's depending on the draft too, which sucks. Or no, a lot of it's depending on how free agency goes for a couple of these teams.
Yeah, because honestly, my prediction here would be. Let's see. My prediction, or what I think would be the best move, is for the Titans, is to trade down 2 spots.
Okay.
Give Giants number 1. You can, and this is if you really want a quarterback this year, take one of these 3 guys.
Yeah.
And if you like the guys you have, you can get someone at the top of the 2nd or the 3rd.
This is true.
Because
They
they're
can get a
picking
rookie.
because a lot of those guys aren't projected. Maybe 3 quarterbacks projected in the first round,
Yeah.
but there are guys second and third.
Who are still pretty decent.
Yeah, like I mean, Dylan Gabriel's been moving down the board for some reason. And I think he's still a very viable option as a starter.
Yeah, and then you still have like is it Ewers?
Quinn
is still there.
Ewers, Jalen Milroe,
Milroe's still down there.
Howard. There's-
Howard, yeah, all good quarterbacks. They're just not being pushed to the first round, which is
Yeah.
fair, honestly, because there's a lot of good.
I think there's a
players for
lot
other
of guys who could develop behind someone. So I think one of those, and I don't think the Browns are going to be smart enough to do it. I think Browns either take a defensive guy and don't pick a quarterback at all, or God, Browns are either going to sign one of these guys, which if anyone, oh no, it's going to be Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
Russell Wilson's going to be a Brown, isn't he?
probably. Now that I'm thinking through things again.
There goes. Okay, so that's my prediction.
Well, there goes Russell
becomes a
Wilson.
Brown. Yeah, Russell Wilson becomes a Brown.
Welcome to football hell, Russell.
So what? They take Travis? I don't know. Listen, mock drafts are going to get. This is why we wait until after free agency for mock drafts.
We don't do that. Last year we didn't do that, and this year it's not that we regret it. It's just more of it's hard to predict things, especially right now.
It's hard to tell who's going to take what when you don't know what they have. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I love it.
I'll say Russell Wilson to the Browns.
Okay,
Rodgers to the Steelers.
mm-hmm.
It's good. I think it'd be Rodgers or Cousins to the Steelers.
Cousins I can see.
But I think there's so much talk about Rodgers going there, but I really don't like him, and I don't like the thought of him. I don't think it matches, but
Also, that culture there would not do well.
yeah, they don't mesh.
They don't mesh.
But I'll stick with Rodgers and the Steelers. So 2 of them go to the AFC North, and Kirk Cousins.
Like I said, he's like a Ryan Tannehill, except a little bit better.
Yeah, but not as mobile. I honestly, I could definitely see him on a 1-year deal starting over JJ McCarthy. So I'll say reunion with the Vikings. It's weird,
I can see.
but those are my predictions going forward.
All right.
Yeah, we'll look forward to seeing how things develop over the week.
Yeah.
But I think for the time being, those are kind of just the biggest moves that have happened so far. It was really hectic for about 3 hours of just constant news.
Yeah. It's a lot. That's why I kind of let him ramble for a little bit because he had a lot of information. So
You should see my notes.
yeah, I saw his notes. I don't think you, the audience, could bear to witness his notes.
Yeah, I did not cover even half of what I have on here.
He's got a lot of stuff on there, and I don't even want to take another look at that thing.
All about that grind.
All that football. We love football.
Yeah, tell me I don't like football. I dare you.
To his face, in person. No, you wouldn't. Anyway. So, I guess that kind of wraps up free agency, rumors, kickoffs, stuff like that.
This is the kickoff to free agency, and it's already hectic as hell. We just started.
And we just finished as of 5:36 Central Standard Time.
You gotta
Yikes.
just have like a constant clock going.
We might. I don't know. I mean, I've been updating people with.
Yeah, just like
Where we're at.
what the time is, so they know it's. But yeah, obviously things are gonna happen afterwards, and between this and our next video, we hope to have something kind of similar to this next week to kind of update things,
just go through things again.
keep things updated. But yeah, that's all we have for the kickoff to free agency. Thank you for joining us for this like absolute mess of just trying to keep up ourselves with what's going on and also sharing our thoughts on what has happened as well.
I told him before this episode, I was like, let's just do a ramble. We're not going to have any structure whatsoever.
Yeah.
That was about it.
Can you tell?
Yeah, I like good rants. So
Yeah, I mean that's pretty
what
much
makes
all
it
there is at this
interesting,
point.
so.
But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you being here, as always, and we look forward to the next update on what's been happening in the off season as we inch closer to draft
closer
season.
to draft day. But we love that kind of stuff. But we'll see what kind of pops up, and I'm excited for the content that we're going to do in the future too.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, thank you all for joining us, and we shall see you in the next video. See ya.
Bye.